I would like to say to whoever has my children that they please bring them home.
Yeah, so Susan Smith has not slowed her roll at all. She's got several men in the pipeline, numerous ones begging and praying that she gets released on her parole, and even opening their homes up to her. Let's talk about it in today's video. Hello, Sofa Squad, and welcome to the sofa. Sofa's back there, but you might notice that Roscoe's sofa is empty. It's because he's sitting right over there. He's looking at me, though. He says he doesn't want to be a TV dog. His hair and makeup crew was late today, and he just doesn't feel like he can be seen by his adoring fans. But know that he'll probably end up in my arms in a few minutes. And my name is Paul, if you are new to the channel. Now, what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be revisiting, not really a case, but like, let's say an update on the case, if you will. And that is of Susan Smith. This was I don't even want to say the term mother. The woman who drowned her two children in the back seat of a car and initially tried to blame it on a black man. This was in South Carolina, and as you can imagine, she got caught, okay? Well, she's been in prison, and she is hot to trot in prison, okay? So as of most recent, she's kind of sort of coming up for parole. Very curious to see how that goes over. But she's got several suitors, some of which want to open their homes up to her and just let her come on in. And so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about that, but also some of the previous updates or whatever she's been doing. If you followed this case over the years, some of this information you've already heard it, right? If you haven't, buckle your seatbelt up and drink it from the cup, because you're literally going to be like, what? She's doing what behind bars? But this, if you follow the Susan Smith character, her case, and you'll know that this is very on brand for her personality. So what we're going to do in the beginning is we're going to start off by just doing a quick overview of what the case is about. Again, this is a long time ago, so some people and I might not be familiar with it. Before we jump in, if you do want to follow me on the old Insta, on the old gram, it's on the little screen right here. It's also down below. Roscoe does show up over there as well as I do sometimes. Anyways, check us out over there too. So let's go ahead and do that little, get everybody on the same page thing. Okay, so 1994, October 25th, her boys, Smith's boys, go missing. Now we're talking about Michael and Alex, a 3-year-old and a 14-month-old. So at this point in time, she tells them that an unidentified black man during a carjacking has taken her car. Now she will go on national TV, as you just saw in the first clip below. And in fact, let's watch one more clip of that.
I would like to say to whoever has my children that they please bring them home. Our lives have been torn apart by this tragic event.
Now, the tragic event, at least on her side of the fence, was that she was dating somebody that didn't want to have kids. At least this is what she is saying. And so I guess in her train of thought, she was thinking, I'll construct this whole thing, get rid of the kids by killing them, and then maybe I can be with him and get attention. Who knows what reasoning she came up with. Now, her story very quickly began to fall apart, right? I mean, this was such a far-fetched thing. And they would eventually find the car, the children, in this body of water. It's absolutely heartbreaking. And in fact, one thing I want to do is I want to look at the clip of when they announced the information on the police came out with it, because again, I remember this happening. I was in high school during this time. This was, major headlines, y'all, just like the things we see in these days. This went viral back then. We didn't have that word back then, but major. So when the police came out and said it was her, and y'all, sadly, in this day and age, I don't want to say it's more common, these type headlines, but they are. Back then, this was like, what? Number one, a mother did what? Like, she killed her children, but not only that, the way she did it, and then the lies she came up with. Y'all, people's mouths were on the ground. So let's watch this clip and listen for the gasp.
Susan Smith has been arrested and will be charged with 2 counts of murder in connection with the deaths of her children.
Still gives me goosebumps right now. Just otherworldly. Okay, So that was that, right? That was the case. That was all that. She's been in prison ever since. But she has not slowed down her love of men since being in prison. And what surprises me, we're going to get into it, is the amount of men that are willing to lose their careers and jobs over this woman. So let's get into the article now. So it says, murderer mom Susan Smith, 49, is exchanging romantic messages with at least 6 men in prison after infractions for sex, drugs, and self-harm while serving life sentence for drowning her 2 sons. Now, down at the bottom, this is by Bethan Sexton for thedailymail.com, came out November 4th. Now, let's read these little bullet points here just to kind of get us on the page, because this article had a lot of good information as far as what she's been up to. So it says, Susan Smith, she was convicted and sentenced to life for the 1994 murder of her sons, Michael and Alex. She's been corresponding with at least half dozen men behind bars in Leith Correctional Institution in Greenwood, South Carolina. One of her lovers has even created their dream life in The Sims, naming a character after tragic Michael. Y'all, I mean, seriously, y'all, I cannot roll my eyes hard enough. This is disgusting. Okay? I mean, I cannot. I just cannot. Okay, let's keep reading. Enter at your own risk at this point, because seriously, y'all, we might crawl under the sofa over this one. Okay, so child killer Susan Smith is exchanging flirty messages with at least 6 men in prison. The South Carolina mom has been corresponding with the men from behind bars from Leith Correctional Institute, Greenwood, and then it just goes on to naming this guy who is named naming a child Michael in The Sims, and a sick tribute to one of the sons she drowned. So it says, meanwhile, several have offered her a place to stay after she is released ahead of an upcoming parole hearing in November 2024. It comes after numerous infractions in jail for sex, drugs, and self-harm. So November 2024, that's a year away. Do y'all want to put bets on what y'all think is going to happen? Okay, here's my thing, just very quickly before we go on. People change, right? I get that, 100%. People can become different people and whatnot. When you're dealing with crimes of this nature, okay, killing your 2 children, the way those boys died, a horrible, horrible death, okay? Horrible way for anyone to leave this earth, but especially to defenseless children, okay? At the hands of their mother, who then lied and said it was a black man that did it. I mean, and again, I just filmed a Sherry Papini video, where she was the one who faked a kidnapping and said 2 Hispanic women did it. I mean, seriously, cannot roll my eyes hard enough at this. But then also the behavior that Susan has continued. She clearly, if this crime was committed over a man, honey, when we get ready to get into this, look at the stuff she's still doing over men. She ain't changed in that department. So I don't see them paroling her. You know what I mean? They're going to just look at her behavior and be like, girl, you're still partying, right? I mean, come on. Like, last time you ended up taking your lives of your children, what's next? So anyways, I just had to get that out before I forget it. Let's keep going. So it says that she served 27 years for drowning her 2 sons in 94. She strapped them into the back of a car and let it roll into a lake after the man she was having an affair with said he didn't want children. The family of the cold-hearted killer was unsurprised by her love life, which they described as messy. They were being nice with that word. Okay, that's Susan for you. She's always had a messy love life. Some things don't change, but she seems to be happy, a relative told the messenger. The outlet also obtained exchanges between Smith and a man who refers to her by the nickname Pookie. Dearest Pookie, he wrote, I might throw up over this one, on August 13th. Been thinking of you and miss you so much. I hope I can do something for you soon. Love you so much it hurts. Your Pookie. Okay. So, the suitor who has set up a fake life in The Sims is a 60-year-old airline pilot, while another revealed he arranges to speak with Smith while the woman he is living with goes out. Y'all, these men are putting it all on the line for her. What power does she have? I just find her interesting and misunderstood. She's not what you think she is, one of the men told the organization. She's a good person who did something terrible when she was young and not in her right mind. People can't change. Another was not bothered by the fact that he was one of several suitors. I don't judge her, he said. She is free to talk to anyone she wants to. I love her and want her to be happy. Smith is one of the most notorious killers in South Carolina over the heinous crimes she committed at age 22. Now, the first paragraph here says that she's received at least 5 infractions for self-mutilation and the use and possession of narcotics, of marijuana, amongst other things. She was disciplined in 2010 and 2015 after being caught with marijuana and narcotics. She was initially incarcerated in Colombia, but she had to be transferred to Leith following multiple sex scandals. In 2000, age 28, she was disciplined for having sex 4 times with 50-year-old prison guard Houston Cagle, who was later jailed for 3 months for the affair. Okay? I'm like, now, I did years ago when I was doing on this channel, but years ago, I did an update about this because it's just every few years the scandal comes out with her, more scandal or whatever. And I mean, men losing their marriages and stuff and going to jail over her. Anyways, she confessed to the sexual encounter with Cagle after testing positive for an STI. The following year, it emerged prison captain Alfred Rowe had sex with her, and he was sentenced to 5 years probation and fired from his job. Former cellmate Stephanie Halsey said Smith also has a girlfriend alongside her male paramours. Smith insists she is not the monster society thinks I am, and revealed to reporters in 2015 she had been planning to hurt herself, not her sons, on the night of the tragedy. Well, okay there. Oh, all right, Susan. The truth finally came out there. Whatever. She says, I had planned to do harm to myself and leave a note behind telling what had happened, Smith said. I didn't believe I could face my family when the truth was revealed. She also refuted claims she had hurt her children to be with a man as so far from the truth, and she said she was not in her right mind at the time of the killings. In 2012, she did attempt to take her own life at age 40 after smuggling in a razor blade and a long history with depression predating the murders. Her stepfather, Beverly Russell, admitted during the initial court case that he had molested Smith as a teen and had consensual sex with her as an adult. Oh my God, y'all. I cannot. Oh my God. I mean, you just see the pipeline, you know what I'm saying? He partly mortgaged his home in order to pay for Smith's defense at trial and said the guilt was not all hers to bear. Finley testified that it was Smith's affair with Russell that provided the impetus for the murders after her husband David Smith found out and threatened to make it public. Smith is due to parole in November 2024, which she will request at release hearing, something her ex-husband opposes. Obviously, right? So here's the thing, and you're here in the part up there where the stepfather's talking about, harmed her when she was a kid and then had, consensual relations or whatever. I mean, you can see where the nucleus for a lot of this stuff happens, right? Now, I'm not trying to sit here and say, oh, so that makes it okay what she did or whatever. Not at all. But you just see here, so I mean, he's sitting here saying right there, he mortgaged his home, the guilt's not all hers. He feels responsible, right? As he should. It's like you did a horrible thing to this, to your stepdaughter or whatever. And this creates a trajectory. I mean, clearly she's a very troubled human being. I can't imagine they're going to let her out. I'm sure the ex-husband will be there or say something or something. If you've read or followed the case, it's like she was all over that town, y'all, before this happened. Having affairs, doing this, doing that, just kind of really running her name to the mud and whatnot. So this is not anything new. I mean, just like the family member said, oh, it's messy or whatever. Now, we often see in these cases, especially if you've watched like Love After Lockup and things like that, these notorious criminals and whatnot that are locked away for a long time will end up getting these, I don't even know, fans or suitors or whatever. I'm sure she's making money off this, right? I mean, she gets commentary, she gets stuff like that. So she has numerous men that she's probably, getting money to pay for stuff with. I can't imagine she's not. And then, it's probably something to pass the time. I mean, she probably only has time on her hands. I mean, my God, she's been in prison for longer than she's been free. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, of course she's going to find something to do. I mean, this is just what she does. So anyways, the whole thing of, naming the character in Sims after a Michael, I mean, that's where you get into like obsessive, stalkery, creepy, why would you do that kind of a thing? And, oh, she's a changed person and all this. I have no doubt. This is like decades ago that I'm sure she has changed on many different levels to some degree, right? But obviously her behavior, whatever these issues are that she has, whether they stem from these events from her childhood, whatever, it's like those are still there. I mean, she's still kind of running this game. You know what I'm saying? And the game that she ran took the lives of her 2 children. So I don't think she's mentally well enough to be considered safe, if that makes sense. But again, I don't know her. I'm not in jail watching her or whatnot. I'm just going based on her actions before and then the stuff that we see still coming out year after year of like the stuff that she's doing. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I don't think she'll get paroled, like I said. I'm sure her ex-husband and other people will be there to speak. So anyway, what do you think? Do you think that Miss Pookie is going to get out or not? I want to know. Anyways, that's it. Roscoe actually, you know what? He did not clean this time. If you watch me, you'll know Roscoe will usually start cleaning his feet, something while we're sitting sitting here doing this, but he's been very quiet. But he does ask that you drop some sofas down in the comment section so he can meander on over there and hang out on those. And until we all meander down there to hang out and talk and comment on Miss Pookie, we'll see y'all there.